Hey guys, it's Gav, the Transformation Guru here on my YouTube. Got a bit of a husky voice at the moment, so bear with, but some people might like it. In this video, I'm going to talk openly about my reactions to the Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate interview. I'm also going to talk openly of why I think we need more people, ironically, like Andrew Tate in society. So, I'm 37 this year, and I don't look it, but being born in the mid-80s, we grew up in a time as a child in the teenage years that we didn't have phone technology like we do today. Like me outside in a field, going for a long walk, and we were able to think more clearly. We held more conversations in person. If we had issues with people, we'll take them out face to face. As a child, there was many a time when I had a ruck with people. I knocked out the local bully when I was about 15 years of age, broke his nose. Quite openly say that. I was doing martial arts at the time. And you could pick on me as much as you want, but you pick on my brother or my friends, that's it, game over. And that was it. And then as soon as the dust settled, we were able to walk away from that conversation and that interaction, and no more future conflict. Obviously, I wouldn't applaud or go out my way to say to people violence is the key, but the point was, we didn't sit behind computer screens plugging away with a keyboard, being a little keyboard warrior. We actually had these conversations and interactions face to face. And like I say, if there was a problem, we dealt with it face to face. And I find that because of the way the lockdowns were, it has made people weaker. It has made people a bit more keyboard warrior like. It's easier to sit in front of a phone and sit in front of a keyboard and rant your mind. But like for me, I've done martial arts and kickboxing and boxing since I was a young child. So confrontation and physical activity in UK martial arts was something I always did. My friend circle was some of the toughest people I've ever met. And I've trained with some very hardcore individuals in question. And these are the sort of people that you wouldn't have typical keyboard like warrior rants in person. So because society's changed, because people are more harsh with their words through a tablet or phone device than they are in person, it's easy to understand why someone like Andrew Tate would be depicted as this evil villain, and that's because he's going against the norm. So the norm today is, like I say, to rant and rave via keyboard, have your opinions said, but not actually deal with conflicts in person or through conversation. And I put it partly to the reason why a lot of guys today are struggling, because they don't know the art of conversation. They don't have a backbone. They do not have a decent sized pair of balls to actually have a conversation or deal with conflict. So in a culture where people have lost their backbone and they're more receptive to looking at a computer screen and ranting and raving with their keyboard, it's no surprise why someone like Andrew Tate became very famous and popular on social media. So if we didn't have the social media, he wouldn't have the fame like he did. But I think it's a very dangerous thing to do nowadays, and that's completely silence someone off. Because, especially someone like him, because he's a very, thank you, he's a very influential person. And he's clever enough to know that if his own social channels have been locked down and suspended or even frozen and deleted, he knows that he could get even more influence indirectly through the people's platforms. Right, mate. So my opinion is, I know a lot of people who are very self-opinionated, who are quite hardcore in their views, who don't sit behind computer screens, who if had an issue, they'd happily have that out face to face. And I'd put it down to the fact that most of these people are over the age of 35, and it's great because it's important to be able to engage in conversation. If you feel conflict's going to be arising as a result of that conversation, you can diffuse it by just saying openly, look, I'll get my viewpoint across. We may not agree, but at least we can shake hands and we can still be friends. But again, the issue with a lot of youngsters today, they don't have these interactions. They do not know how to communicate with one another. And I can tell you one thing, when a lot of people come into conflict, when they do first experience that difficult situation, they won't know how to handle themselves, they'll fall apart. So I think with Andrew Tate, his whole philosophy is to basically, as like the Americans say, make America great again. I think he's trying to, in a roundabout sort of way, say to us all, make men great again. We can't be all turn into fairies, and it's no surprise why a lot of men become so lost, because they're losing their voice and they feel very isolated. That's why a lot of people reach out to the likes of YouTube and Google searches, especially men. I find a lot of women have their own little inner circles, and because women are naturally more emotional characters, they can speak openly with their peers, whereas with the likes of men, it's very difficult for many, and that's why a lot of people, especially men, and I can look at the statistics on YouTube, reach out to YouTube and watch these long-winded videos with someone like me ranting and raving in front of a camera or from a phone device, as I am. So with the Piers Morgan interview recently, I didn't really rate it. I'm a bit conflicted with Piers Morgan. I think sometimes he could be a bit of a people pleaser, and at the end of the day, he knew that interview would get a lot of clickbait and a lot of interest, so naturally for him, he's going to want to profit for his organisation off the back of that. I did expect him to try and get Andrew Tate's backup. I was expecting Piers to actually align himself with some of Andrew's thoughts and ideas, but I just felt that in the first 10 minutes into the interview, he was just trying to thank you. Name's Bert. Dog's name's Bert.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Bert.
Yeah. Bert the dog. Brilliant. That's all right. It's okay. I'll do it myself. But yeah, with the Piers Morgan interview, he gets very confrontational and likes to try and wind people up, which is good TV. Not necessarily a great interview technique. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's certain things that I don't agree about with Andrew Tate's ideals. I think, okay, this guy's similar age to myself, he's in his 30s, probably should act a bit more mature in his social media. That's probably why he's toned down his ideals, because clearly he got censored as a result of some extreme views. I didn't believe he should have been censored though. Just makes good viewing. He's on Fit and Fresh, a YouTube channel. I've seen a few of his interviews, and I just feel that we need more positive influence for men today, and that we wouldn't lose so many men to suicide, mental health issues, loneliness, etc., if we were able to speak as openly as possible. And men do need to focus on being the best version of themselves. That's what's pretty much the main narrative of Andrew Tate's content. So being the best version of yourself is important. Doing it in a manner which is respectful, both for self-respect but also for the respect of the people in your surroundings. You don't need to be a tyrant. but equally you don't need to be a pushover, a walkover either. So there we go. I do like Andrew Tate. I don't agree with everything he says. I do agree with the whole narrative that men today should be striving to be the best version of themselves, shouldn't be making women the centre of their universe, otherwise they don't do anything constructive in their lives. I do believe that men should be able to speak freely, speak openly to one another without fearing conflict. And I definitely don't agree with the whole keyboard warrior mindset, because it's just unhealthy. But equally, if you're going to say something online, you better be able to back it up in person, face to face. And I'm less confrontational now in my 30s than I was in my teenage years and early 20s. It's quite I wouldn't say angry individual, just a very lively, energetic type of character. And the thing is, when you're doing martial arts all the time, you know how to handle yourself. You don't mind gopping off as well. But as I'm older, I know the consequence of violence, and I know the consequence of causing unnecessary conflict. So again, life teaches you these lessons. So if I was a guy watching this channel, I was underneath the age of 30 and I was a bit lost, needed a bit of a pep talk. The best things I could say is focus on being the best version of yourself, focus on your own hobbies and interests, try and pursue a career interest that gives you the desire to get up in the morning and do what you enjoy, and stay away from toxic people, do martial art, and learn how to have conversation. And all conversations aren't necessarily positive. Sometimes they can be of conflict, and it's knowing how to manage those difficult conversations, which will make you a better man. There you go. So that's a video about Andrew Tate, the Piers Morgan interview. A little bit of pep talk for those guys underneath the age of 30 who are a bit lost, or just need a bit of a pat on the back and a kick up the bum. There you go. I'm Gavin Townsend, your transformation guru. If you like my content, give it a thumbs up, give the channel a subscribe. And I like talking about different things. I try not to get centrically focused on one or two subjects. My hobbies and interests, as everyone knows, is fitness and music. I've been a DJ since 1998. I've been a personal trainer since 2005. I've done modelling, I've travelled the world. I love cars, I love various hobbies, I love my food. I've got a lot of various interests, but I also have a lot of interest in the likes of geopolitical issues, macroeconomics, history, and I like to keep my ideas varied and my thought processes open. I like an open mindset. I don't like to have a fixed mindset. I like to keep my ears and eyes open to different ideas and different surroundings. It makes you a better human. I struggle with a lot of people in today's society because they're quick to judge the world, but they've never left their hometown. So it says a lot about the individual in question. Anyway, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.